English phone calls. Speak with confidence. Introduction. Imagine your phone rings. It's someone speaking English. Your heart beats fast. You wait before you answer. Does this feel like you? Many people find talking on the phone in English is the hardest part of learning the language. It's not just knowing words. It's about thinking and answering right away, without seeing the person's face or how they move. Not understanding, or not being understood, or making a mistake can feel too big. It can make you want to not answer calls at all. Talking on the phone is not like talking in person. On the phone, you can't see faces, body movements, or hands. This makes it hard to guess what someone means or to know if they get you. Phone calls also happen very fast. You must listen, understand, and think of your answer almost at the same time. Add to this sounds from the outside, a bad phone line, or someone talking in a way you don't know. Well, then it's easy to see why it feels hard. There is a special worry when you are on the phone, knowing someone is waiting for you to speak. But what if you could change that worry into feeling calm and in charge? What if you could feel ready and sure for every English phone call? This book will help you do just that. Phone call confidence. Phone call confidence is not about speaking perfect English. It's about feeling good, able, and in control when you need to talk in English on the phone. It's feeling like you have the right tools, the right words, and the right plans to handle common phone talks well. It's being able to understand and be understood, even when things are not perfect, like when the phone line makes noise or you miss a word. We will help you go from a shy hello to a sure goodbye. We will give you the skills to have these talks easily. In this book, you will find simple ways to build your phone call confidence. You will learn how to make appointments, like for a doctor or a meeting. You will find clear words to ask for things, like how to get somewhere or what a thing is like. We will show you how to order food or services. You will learn how to leave messages when someone is not there. You will also learn how to handle calls to shops or helpers, which can be hard. More than just knowing what to say, we will share ways to help you understand better on the phone. We will give you helpful words to ask someone to say it again or speak slower. You will also learn easy ways to make sure the other person understands you. And, it's important, we will give you good advice for when the phone line is bad or you don't understand something. We will show you how to fix mistakes nicely. Each part is made to build your phone call confidence bit by bit. We will focus on words and phrases you need for phone talks. This book is made for the kinds of phone calls people make each day. We will look at each situation. We will give you the words, phrases, and plans you need. You will find clear steps, easy examples, and ways to try what you learn. Our goal is to give you advice you can use right away to make your next phone call easier. This book is for anyone who uses English for work or for fun and wants to feel better and more able when making or getting phone calls. If you are just starting or have learned English for some time and you have felt worried before picking up the phone, this book is for you. The path to phone call confidence begins now. Let's make those nervous phone calls chances to connect and talk with sure feelings. Are you ready to speak with sure feelings? 1. Overcoming fear of phone calls. It is very normal to feel a little scared or even very worried when you know you must make a phone call in English. Think about it. You cannot see the person's face. You cannot see how they look. You cannot see their body language. It is only your voice, their voice, and a line that connects you. For many people learning English, this can feel like a test, a hard thing, or even a little bit frightening. And you know what? That is okay. You are not the only one who feels this way. Many people who speak English every day still feel a little nervous sometimes, especially for new or important phone calls. This feeling of fear does not mean you are not good enough at English. It is really a natural human feeling. Our brains are made to be careful when we face something we are not sure about or something that might be hard. On a phone call, there are many things that can feel unsure. Will I understand what they say? Will they understand what I say? What if I make a mistake? What if I forget the words I need? What if the phone line is bad? All these questions can build up, making a wall of worry that makes picking up the phone feel like climbing a very big hill. Let us look at some common reasons why this fear appears. One of the biggest is the fear of not understanding. When someone speaks fast or uses words you do not know, it is easy to feel lost. You might nod your head, pretending you understand, but inside you are worried, wondering what you missed. Then there is the other side, the fear of not being understood. You might have the right words in your head, but when you say them, the other person sounds like they do not get it. This can make you feel shy or like you are not talking clearly. Mistakes are another big worry. We often worry that our grammar is wrong or our speaking is not perfect. We might think, if I make a mistake, they will think I am not smart or they will not listen. To me, it is true that we all want to talk well, and sometimes the need to be perfect can be too much. Phone calls add more worry because everything happens very fast. There is no time to stop, look for a word, or think for a long time. You have to answer quickly, and this quick need can make anyone feel a bit stressed. And for many, not having practice with English phone calls often means that each call feels like the very first time, making it harder to feel comfortable and skilled. But here is a strong idea to remember. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is to talk and understand well. Think about it. When you talk to someone in your own language, do you always use perfect sentences? Do you never make a small mistake? Probably not. Yet, you can still understand each other and get things done. The same is true for English phone calls. Your aim is to get your message across and to understand the other person's message. That is all. If you say I go to the shop yesterday instead of I went to the shop yesterday, the meaning is still clear. The other person will understand what you mean. This is the start of building what we call phone call confidence. It is about believing that you can share your meaning, even if it is not perfectly correct. This idea of talking well enough is a big step. It means letting go of the need to be like someone who speaks English all the time. It means knowing that making mistakes is not failing, but a normal part of learning. Every time you try to speak, even if you make a small mistake, you are learning. You are getting closer to saying it better next time. The important thing is to keep trying. Imagine you are learning to ride a bike. You might shake, you might even fall, but you get back up. Each time you try, you get a little steadier. Phone calls are the same. Each call is a chance to practice, to learn, and to build your confidence. This is where getting ready becomes your best helper. Fear often comes from not knowing what will happen. When you do not know what to expect, your mind fills in the empty spaces with worries. But when you get ready, you take away some of that unsureness. Getting ready is like packing a small bag of tools before you go on a trip. You might not use everything, but knowing you have them makes you feel ready for anything. For phone calls, getting ready means thinking ahead. What is the reason for this call? Who will I be talking to? What information do I need to give? What information do I need to get? Having a few main phrases ready can make a big difference. Even just knowing how to start the call, how to ask someone to say it again, or how to say goodbye can make you feel much more in charge. Imagine you have to call a doctor's office to set a time to see them. Before you call, you can write down, "Hello, I would like to set an appointment. What days are open? Can I see doctor? Thank you for your help." Having these simple sentences written down, or even remembered, means you do not have to search for the words while you are on the phone. You can focus on listening and speaking. This getting ready is not about remembering a whole talk, but about having a few main points, a few safe, places that you can count on. It is about making your thinking easier so you can focus on the talk. Let us think about a time when I, the phone coach, was helping a student named Maria. Maria was very afraid of making phone calls. She was a very good student in her English class. She could write stories and understand books. But the phone? It made her very worried. She told me, when the phone rings, my heart starts beating very fast. I feel like I cannot breathe. I just want to hang up. Maria's fear was very real, and it was stopping her from doing important things, like booking a table at a restaurant or asking for information about her electricity bill. So we started with small steps. I said she should practice making calls that were not so important. First, she called a local library to ask for their opening times. It was a simple question, and if she made a mistake, it would not have big problems. She wrote down the question and the answer she thought she would get. She practiced saying it a few times. When she made the call, she was nervous, but she managed to ask the question and understand the answer. She felt a small spark of success. I did it, she told me, a little surprised. The next week, we tried a slightly bigger challenge. She needed to call a shop to ask if they had a certain book. Again, she got ready. She wrote down the name of the book and the question, "Do you have book title in stock?" She also got ready for the answer, "Yes, we do," or "No, we don't." This time she was still nervous, but she felt a little more ready. She made the call, and they had the book. She felt a strong feeling of achievement. These small wins were like building blocks. Each call that went well, no matter how simple, added another brick to her wall of confidence. This is the power of starting small. Do not feel like you have to make a difficult business call on your first try. Start with something easy. Maybe it is calling a friend who also speaks English and practicing a simple conversation. Maybe it is calling a company to ask for a booklet. The goal is to have success, to show yourself that you can do it. Each time you hang up the phone after a successful talk, take a moment to notice it. Say to yourself, "I did that. I was nervous, but I did it." This good talking to yourself is very important for building confidence. Understanding the reasons for your fear is the first step to getting over it. When you know why you feel worried, you can start to deal with those specific worries. You can remind yourself that perfect English is not the goal, and that getting ready is your secret tool. And by starting with small, easy calls, you can build your confidence bit by bit, turning those scary phone calls into chances to grow and succeed. Now that we have understood why we feel worried about phone calls and looked at ways to start getting over it, we can move from a place of fear to one of being ready. The next step is to give ourselves the important language tools that will make us feel even more sure and able, turning our new bravery into real talking skills. 2. Tips for effective phone communication. The phone rings. Your heart jumps a little. It's an English phone call. Maybe someone wants to give you information, or perhaps you need to ask for help. It's okay to feel a little nervous. But what if I told you that with a few easy tips, you can feel strong and sure of yourself? That's what we're here for, to help you feel good about phone calls. Think about it. When you know what to do, and you have the right tools, things feel much easier, right? It's like packing for a trip. If you have a good map and a list of what you need, you feel ready for anything. Phone calls are the same. Being ready is like having your map and your suitcase packed. It's the first step, and it's a big one, to feeling sure of yourself. So, how do you get ready? It's not just about learning words, though that's important. It's about knowing who you're calling. Is it a friend? A doctor's office? Knowing this helps you guess what they might say and what you might need to say. And why are you calling? Are you booking a table at a restaurant? Asking about something you want to buy? Or maybe you need to explain a problem. Having a clear reason in your mind helps you focus. Before you pick up the phone, take a moment. Think, what do I want to achieve with this call? Writing down a few main points on a piece of paper can be very helpful. It's like having a little safety net. You don't need to write a whole speech, just a few main ideas. This simple act of getting ready calms your mind and tells your brain, I can do this. It's the start of phone call confidence. Now, let's talk about your voice. On the phone, people can't see your face. They can't see you smile or nod. Your voice is your only way to show them you were friendly and that you were listening. This is why speaking slowly and clearly is very, very important. When we're nervous, we tend to speak very fast, like a runaway train. But on the phone, this makes it hard for the other person to understand you, and it makes you feel even more worried. Try this. Before you speak, take a small breath. This gives you a moment to think. Then, try to open your mouth a little more than usual and say each word clearly. Imagine you are speaking to someone who is a little bit far away. You need to make sure they can hear every part of your message. Don't be afraid to pause between sentences. A short pause is not strange, it's helpful. It gives the other person time to understand what you've said, and it gives you a moment to think about what you want to say next. Are there certain sounds that are hard for you? Many people learning English find sounds like THs in think or this, R, and L a bit difficult. Practice saying words with these sounds slowly. For example, 3 thin trees. Say it slowly, then a little faster. On the phone, if you know a word has a sound you find hard, try to say it a little more carefully. You can also try to use simpler words if you can. The goal is to communicate clearly, not to use difficult words. Speaking slowly and clearly is a direct help to your phone call confidence because it makes sure your message is understood, which means fewer mistakes. Talking is like a dance. It's not just you speaking, it's also about listening. Really listening is a superpower on the phone. It means you are truly paying attention to what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. How do you show you are listening? You can use little sounds like aha or I see, but more importantly, you can say back what you heard to check. This is a great way to make sure you both understand the same thing and to show you are paying attention. Try phrases like, so, if I understand right, you want me to call back tomorrow? This shows you have listened and are checking you understood. If you didn't hear something, don't just stay quiet and hope for the best. That's a quick way to lose phone call confidence. Instead, politely ask for help. Could you repeat that, please? Is your best friend. Or I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you say it again? If the person is speaking too fast, you can say, could you please speak a little slower? Asking questions to make sure you understand is also key. If someone mentions a date or a time, you might ask, so, that's Tuesday the 15th. Or if they give you instructions, you could say, just to be sure, you want me to send the email to Mr. This shows you are paying attention and want to get things right. This back and forth talking builds a strong connection and makes the conversation flow smoothly, making your phone call confidence stronger. Even when you're feeling a bit nervous, being polite goes a very long way. It's like wearing nice clothes for an important meeting. Using polite words makes you sound more professional and respectful, and it also makes the other person more willing to help you. It's not just about saying please and thank you, though those are important. It's about the kind way you ask for things. Instead of saying, give me the information, try, could you please give me the information? Instead of demanding, tell me when the shop opens, try, could you tell me when the shop opens, please? Starting your call with a friendly greeting like hello, this is your name, and ending with a warm thank you for your help. Goodbye makes a big difference. Even if you make a small mistake, a polite tone can fix any small problems. This always being polite is a key part of phone call confidence because it creates a good conversation, no matter if you make a few small language mistakes. What happens when the phone line is bad, or the person on the other end speaks with a strong accent, or you just can't understand a word? These are common problems, and knowing how to handle them well is a big part of feeling confident. Don't let these moments make you panic. They are just part of phone calls. If there's noise in the background, you can say, "I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise here. Could you speak up a little?" Or, "I'm having trouble hearing you. Is it noisy where you are?" If you can't understand an accent, remember your helpful phrases. "I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble understanding. Could you please repeat that?" Or could you say that more slowly, please? Sometimes, asking them to spell a word can be very helpful. "Could you spell that word for me, please?" It's also okay to say you don't know something. If they ask a question you can't answer, you can say, "I don't have that information right now, but I can find out and call you back." This is much better than pretending you understand when you don't. These simple phrases are like secret weapons. They allow you to handle difficult moments without getting upset, and each time you use them well, your phone call confidence grows. Remember Maria? She was new in town, and her landlord called about a leaky faucet. Maria's English was okay when she read it, but on the phone, her mind went blank. She worried about understanding the landlord and explaining the problem. She felt that familiar, not a fear in her stomach. The first time the phone rang, she almost didn't answer, but she remembered the tips. She took a deep breath. She grabbed a pen and paper. "Okay," she told herself. "I can do this." The landlord spoke quickly. Maria felt her heart speed up. But she focused on her breathing. She heard words like water, kitchen, and problem. She politely interrupted, "Excuse me, could you please speak a little slower?" The landlord, a kind older man, immediately slowed down. Maria listened carefully, nodding even though he couldn't see her. She repeated back what she understood. "So, the water is dripping from the pipe under the kitchen sink." "Yes, exactly," the landlord replied, sounding relieved. Maria then explained, "I tried to tighten it, but it is still dripping. I think we need someone to fix it." She used simple words, but she was clear. She asked, "When can someone come to look at it?" She confirmed the date and time the repairman would arrive, writing it down. At the end of the call, she said, "Thank you very much for your help." Hanging up, Maria felt a wave of relief, followed by something new: pride. She had done it. She had understood, she had spoken, and she had solved the problem. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. That small success was a huge boost to her phone call confidence. She realized that preparing her thoughts, speaking clearly, listening carefully, and using polite phrases were not just words in a book. They were real tools that worked. They helped her feel in control, even when speaking a language that was still new to her. By focusing on these practical tips, getting your thoughts ready, speaking with purpose, listening to understand, and being polite, you are building a strong base. You are learning to guide the conversation, not just be carried along by it. These skills help you feel more in control, and that feeling of control is the very heart of phone call confidence. You're not just learning English, you're learning to use it well, one phone call at a time. And with this solid base, we can now move on to looking at specific situations and the exact phrases that will make you feel truly comfortable and capable. 3. Building confidence in conversations. It is very normal to feel a little nervous or even very worried when you know you have to make or take a phone call in English. If your heart has ever beaten faster, your hands have felt sweaty, or your mind has gone blank just thinking about it, you are not alone. Many people feel this way. It is like standing at the edge of a swimming pool, knowing you can swim, but the water looks deep, and you are not sure what is below the surface. Why does this happen? Well, on the phone, we lose many things that help us understand each other when we are together. We cannot see the other person's friendly smile or their nod of encouragement. We cannot see their body language, which often tells us more than words. We might have trouble understanding a different accent, or they might not understand our English. The phone line itself can sometimes be unclear, making it even harder. And then there is the pressure to answer quickly, to find the right words right now, without being able to pause and think as much as you would like. All these things can make us feel a bit lost, a bit unsure, and a bit scared. This feeling is the opposite of what we want, and it is the first thing we need to talk about. It is okay to feel this way, and it is the first step to changing it. Now, let's talk about something very important: confidence. It is easy to think that some people are just naturally confident, and others are not. But when it comes to speaking English on the phone, that is not really true. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build, little by little. Think of it like building a house. You do not just wish for a house to appear. You make a base, you build walls, you add a roof. Each part is important, and each part takes work. Confidence on the phone is exactly the same. It is built by preparing and practicing. It is about knowing you have the tools you need and then using them. It is about making mistakes and learning from them, not letting them stop you. It is about feeling sure and calm, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready. This is where the real magic begins. One of the biggest reasons people feel nervous is simply not knowing what to say. Imagine going into a shop to buy something, but you do not know the words for what you want to buy or how to ask the price. It would be confusing, right? The phone is similar. But here's the great news. Most phone calls follow patterns. When you call to make an appointment, there are certain phrases you will use. When you call to ask for information, there are others. When you need to leave a message, there is a specific way to do it. By learning these useful phrases and words for common phone situations, you give yourself a big advantage. You build the base of your confidence. You create a toolkit of language that you can use whenever you need it. This toolkit helps you feel in control, because you know you have the right words ready. It is like having a map when you are going to a new place. You feel much more sure of yourself when you know where you are going. This knowledge of what to say directly leads to what we call phone call confidence. Remember, this is the feeling of being sure and calm when speaking English on the phone. It means you are not afraid of making mistakes or not understanding. This confidence comes from knowing the right words to use, having simple plans for different phone tasks, and knowing how to handle problems. It is about feeling in control and able to share your message clearly even when you cannot see the other person. When you have these phrases ready, you are already halfway there. You can start to relax a little because you know you have a way to begin the conversation, to ask your question, or to explain what you need. Another very important part of building confidence is changing how you think about these calls. Instead of thinking, "Oh no, I cannot do this," or "I will fail," try to change your thinking to "How can I handle this?" This is a small change in words, but it makes a huge difference in how you feel. It is about moving from a place of fear to a place of finding solutions. If you do not understand something, instead of panicking, you can think, "How can I ask them to say that again?" Or "How can I ask them to speak more slowly?" If you cannot find the exact word you need, you can think, "How can I explain this in a simpler way?" This "how can I" way of thinking is incredibly powerful. It means you are actively looking for answers rather than just worrying about the problem. It means you are taking control of the situation. Let me tell you about my friend, Maria. Maria came to me a few years ago, and she was excellent at her job. She knew her work very well, But the moment her office phone rang and it was an English speaker, she would freeze. She told me she felt like a small child again, afraid to speak. She would avoid answering the phone if she could, and if she had to, she would speak so quietly and quickly that often the person on the other end would ask her to repeat herself, which only made her feel worse. She was very unhappy because she knew she was capable, but the phone calls were a wall she could not seem to climb. One day, her boss asked her to call a supplier in another country to check on an order. Maria's stomach dropped. She came to me, almost crying. We sat down, and I asked her, "Maria, what is the very first thing you need to say when you call someone?" She thought for a moment and said, "I need to say hello, and who I am, and why I am calling." So we practiced that. We wrote down simple phrases. "Hello, this is Maria from your company name. I am calling about order number." We practiced saying it clearly, slowly, and with a smile in her voice. We also practiced what to do if the person was not there. "Could I leave a message, please? Or when would be a good time to call back?" We spent a few meetings just practicing these basic opening lines and common requests. We did not try to cover everything at once. We focused on just a few key phrases for that one specific call. The next day, Maria called me and her voice was different. She sounded excited. She said the call went well. I said my opening lines and the person understood me. They told me the order would be late, and I asked them to send me an email. I even understood most of what they said in the email. It was a small success, but for Maria, it was huge. She realized that knowing those few phrases made all the difference. She did not have to make everything up on the spot. She had a plan. That was her aha. She saw that preparing was not just about learning words. It was about building her confidence, one phrase at a time. So, what is the most important piece of advice for someone feeling overwhelmed and scared right now, before their next English phone call? It is this: focus on just one thing. Do not try to learn 100 new phrases or become a perfect English speaker overnight. Choose one type of call you often have to make or receive. Maybe it is calling a doctor's office, or ordering food, or asking for directions. Then find just 2 or 3 key phrases for that specific situation. Write them down. Practice saying them out loud, maybe to yourself or to a friend. Have them written down next to the phone. Knowing you have those few words ready will make a big difference. It is like having a small, reliable tool in your hand when you are facing a big task. That small tool can give you the courage to start. This journey to feeling more confident on the phone is about small, regular steps. It is about understanding that the fear is normal, but it does not have to control you. It is about realizing that confidence is built by knowing what to say and by practicing. It is about changing your thinking to look for solutions. And it is about starting with just one small, easy step. Now that we understand why confidence is so important and how it can be developed, let's move on to the practical part. The next section will go into the essential language and methods you need to handle the most common types of English phone calls with new confidence. 4. Handling technical issues. Sometimes the phone line makes a crackling sound, or maybe the other person sounds like they are far away, or your own voice might not sound clear. These are small problems with the phone. They can seem big and scary when you are trying to speak English. But here is a secret. These things happen to everyone. Even people who speak English all the time get annoyed by bad phone lines. Knowing how to handle these small problems is a big part of feeling sure of yourself on the phone. It means you will not stop talking or get scared when the sound is not perfect. Instead, you will have a plan and the right words to keep talking. Let's start by knowing that these problems are normal. Think about it. You cannot see the other person. You cannot use your hands to show things or your face to show you are confused. You only have sound. When the sound is not clear, it is like trying to read a book with smudged ink. It is not your fault, and it is not the other person's fault. It is just a problem with the phone or the signal. So, the first step to feeling more sure of yourself is to know that these moments will happen and to remember they will end. They do not mean you speak English badly. They just mean the phone is not working perfectly. Knowing this is important because it takes away the pressure to have a perfect call and replaces it with the goal of a good call no matter what. When you cannot hear the other person well, it is easy to feel lost. They might be speaking too softly, too fast, or the line might be so bad that their words sound like a mess. In these moments, your mind might race, and you might worry about missing something important. But you have simple, strong ways to ask for help. The most common and useful thing to say is, "Sorry, could you say that again?" It is polite, clear, and tells the other person exactly what you need. You can also say, "I am having trouble hearing you. The line is a bit unclear." This explains why you need them to say it again, which can be helpful. If they are speaking too fast, a gentle "could you speak a little slower, please?" is perfect. It is not a criticism, it is a request for them to make it easier for you to understand. Another good phrase is, "I did not quite hear that. Could you say it again?" This is a softer way of saying you did not understand, and it asks them to try again. Using these phrases shows you are paying attention to the conversation, even when the sound is bad. It is about taking control of the talk, not letting the bad sound control you. This way of acting is a main part of feeling sure of yourself on the phone. Now, what if the problem is with you? Maybe you are in a noisy place, or your internet connection is not good. It is important to let the other person know, so they do not think you are not listening, or that you are being rude. You can say, "I am sorry, I am losing you. Can you hear me okay?" This is a good way to check if the problem is with the connection. It is a direct question that asks for an answer about the sound. If there is a lot of noise around you, you can say, "There is some noise around me. Please be patient with me." This is a simple apology and a request for patience. It is honest and helps the other person understand. If you think your connection is weak, you can say, "My connection seems to be a bit weak. Could you repeat the last part?" This is very similar to when you cannot hear them, but it shows that the problem might be with your signal. Being open about these problems helps the other person speak differently or understand if there are pauses or if they have to repeat themselves. It builds trust and keeps the conversation going, making you feel more sure of yourself on the phone by showing you can handle your own problems with talking. Let's think about the most common phone problems people have when speaking English. In many languages, the words for hello or goodbye are very clear, and even if the line is bad, you might know those words. But in English, especially when people speak fast or the connection is bad, words can blend together. For example, "Can you hear me?" might sound like "Can you hear me?" or even "Can you hear me?" When spoken quickly, if the line is bad, "What did you say?" might sound like "What'd you say?" or "What'd you say?" These changes in sound, along with a fuzzy line, can make understanding very hard. Unlike in some languages where a certain tone or way of speaking clearly shows a question, English relies a lot on the order of words and small sound changes. When those are lost in static, it is a real challenge. This is why having those simple, clear phrases like "Could you repeat that?" becomes so important. They cut through the possible confusion. Another common problem is echo. Sometimes, your own voice or the other person's voice can bounce back, making it hard to know who is speaking or what they are saying. This is often caused by a phone's microphone picking up sound from its own speaker. In these cases, you might need to politely interrupt and say something like, "I am getting a bit of an echo. Is that on your end or mine?" What if the call just stops completely? This can feel like the most stressful problem because it is a sudden stop. But again, having a plan makes all the difference. If the call cuts out and you have the other person's number, the best thing to do is often to call them back. You can say, "It sounds like we're losing the connection. Would you mind calling me back?" This lets them take action and is very polite. Or you can say, "I will try calling you again in a moment." This shows you are taking action and that you want to keep talking. If the connection is always bad and you have tried calling back without success, it is okay to suggest trying another time. Perhaps we could try again later if the connection does not get better. Is a good way to handle this. It is a practical answer that accepts the technical problem without blaming anyone. Being able to change and find answers, even when technology fails, is a big help to feeling sure of yourself on the phone. It shows you can handle unexpected problems and still reach your goals for talking. There is also a way to handle possible technical problems before they happen. If you know your mobile signal is often weak in some places, or if you use a home phone that sometimes has a fuzzy line, it is helpful to mention it at the start of the call. You can say something like, "I am on a mobile and the signal can be a bit weak sometimes, so please be patient with me if there are any breaks." Or, "I am calling from home and the phone line can sometimes be a little unclear. I will do my best to make sure we can hear each other." This prepares the other person. They are warned ahead of time, and they are more likely to be patient if a small problem does happen. It is like telling someone you have a slight cold before a meeting. They understand if you cough a little. This honesty from the start shows you are thinking ahead and want the conversation to go as smoothly as possible for both of you. This way of preparing can greatly lower your worry and help you feel more sure of yourself on the phone. Besides just giving you phrases, what is the main way of thinking that helps someone stay calm and effective when technical problems happen on a call? It is about changing your focus from the problem to the answer. When you hear static, it is easy to think, "Oh no, I cannot understand anything. This is a disaster." But if you can teach yourself to think, "Okay, static. What can I do? I can ask them to repeat," you immediately start to solve the problem. This is the heart of feeling sure of yourself on the phone. It is not about never having problems. It is about knowing you have the skills and the mental strength to get past them. This way of thinking has a few main parts. First, not taking it personally. Try not to think the technical problem is about you. It is not a sign of how well you speak English. It is a problem you share with the person on the other end. Imagine you are a detective trying to solve a puzzle. The puzzle is understanding what is being said, and the static is just something that makes it harder to solve. Second, being patient. This is very important. Technical problems often need a little more time. You might need to ask for repetition a few times, or wait for a connection to get clear. Instead of getting upset, see it as a chance to practice your listening skills or your polite asking skills. Every time you patiently get through a technical problem, you are building more confidence in yourself on the phone. Third, being clever with what you have. Think of yourself as having a set of tools. The phrases we have talked about are your tools. When one tool does not work perfectly, you try another. If asking, "Could you repeat that?" does not help because the line is too bad, you might try, "Could you spell that for me?" Or, "Is there another number I can reach you at?" Being clever means you do not give up easily. Fourth, talking nicely to yourself. When you are on a call and the sound is bad, it is easy for bad thoughts to come in. "I am terrible at this," or "I will never be able to do this." Fight those thoughts with good thoughts. Remind yourself, "I have handled this before," or "I know what to say," or "This is just a temporary problem." This inner support is a strong way to build confidence on the phone. Finally, focus on the goal. What is the reason for this call? Is it to make an appointment? To ask for information? To confirm something? Keep that goal in mind. The technical problem is a barrier, but your goal is where you want to go. Remembering the purpose can help you stay focused and motivated to get past the barrier. Let's look again at the question, what are the most common technical problems people have on English phone calls, and how are they different from problems in their own language? The common problems are the same everywhere: bad connection static, dropped calls, echo, background noise, and finding it hard to hear or understand because of speed or clarity. However, how they affect you can be different. In many languages, there might be very clear sounds or ways of speaking that clearly show a question or a statement, even if the overall sound is muffled. English, with its different vowel sounds and sometimes small changes in stress, can be more likely to lose these small differences. For example, the difference between he went and she went might be small but important. If the line is bad, that small difference can disappear, leading to misunderstanding. Also, the way English speakers often expect you to be direct can play a part. While in some cultures, it might be more polite to hint at a problem, in English phone calls, being direct with phrases like "I can't hear you" is often appreciated because it leads to fixing the problem faster. This directness, when mixed with a technical problem, can feel surprising if you are not used to it. It is not that the technical problem itself is different, but the way you are expected to react to it in English might be. For people learning, this means not only learning the phrases, but also understanding the cultural expectation of clear, quick talking, even when facing technical problems. This understanding is a very important part of truly feeling sure of yourself on the phone. Think about a situation. Maria, who is learning English, needed to call a doctor's office to change an important appointment. She was worried because her English was not perfect and she knew her home phone line could sometimes crackle. As she started the call, the receptionist's voice was faint. Maria immediately felt a knot of worry. Her first thought was to panic, but then she remembered the advice from this book. She took a deep breath and said, "Hello, I am sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. The line is a bit unclear." The receptionist. Conclusion: you have come to the end of English phone calls. Speak with confidence. You read through the book and learned about different phone situations. You also learned many useful words and phrases. Speaking English on the phone can be hard. It shows you are brave and want to talk to people that you have spent your time learning this. We looked at how to make appointments, ask for information, solve problems, and much more. Every step you took in reading and understanding these tips helps you feel more comfortable and able to speak. This book was made to help you feel less afraid and more sure when you speak English on the phone. This feeling, this inner strength, is called phone call confidence. It does not mean you have to be perfect or never make a mistake. It means you feel ready and calm. You know you have the right tools to say what you want to say. It is the quiet feeling that even if you do not understand everything, you know how to ask for help or for someone to say it again. When you can say hello clearly, say why you are calling, and guide the talk, you have phone call confidence. It is when you stop dreading the phone ringing and start feeling ready to answer it, knowing you can handle what comes. Now that you have these skills, the most important thing is to use them. Reading is a great start, but real confidence comes from trying. You can practice with a friend or family member. Pretend you are booking a room or asking for directions. You can even record yourself and listen. This helps you see what you do well and what you can work on more. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. They are a normal part of learning. The goal is to be understood, not to speak perfectly. Every time you use a new phrase or handle a call a little better, you build more phone call confidence. Think of every call that goes well, no matter how small, as a win. It makes you stronger and believe in yourself more. Think about your phone calls in the future. See yourself booking a hotel room with ease. Imagine asking for help in a store without worry. Picture yourself talking about something important without feeling sick with fear. You can now make these calls less hard and more useful. The skills you learned here are not just for phone calls. They are steps to better talking and more chances in your English learning. You can speak clearly and be understood. Thank you for learning with me. Remember, every call is a chance to practice and get better. Go and speak with confidence.